Good morning, students. Today, we'll learn about the lesson called as In the Office. It is written by A.S. Hornby. This is the class for Become Second Year English compulsory. Let's begin with the topic. In the Office by A.S. Hornby. When we are learning this topic, what objectives do we have before us? So for this, we have means after learning this lesson, the objectives for this lesson are to make students aware about the importance of office and communication system in business, or what we can call as the center of entrepreneurial activities. It also aims to introduce the communication system and equipments prevalent in the 19th century. It also enables students to get equipped with communications medias and use them effectively in business environment. While these objectives are set for this class, what will be the outcomes? Means, after learning this lesson, what will you be able to do? After learning this lesson, you will understand the importance of office in business. You will understand the communication systems and equipment in entrepreneurial activities. It will also help you to learn the functioning of various equipments in office existing during 19th century. And it would also help you to contrast and compare the 19th century communication media and 21st century communication media or social media, etc. While doing this, let's have a brief intro about the author. Author is A.S. Hornby, and he is a famous lexicographer and English grammarian. He was born in Chester and educated in London. Hornby was a pioneer in the field of English language teaching. This is the household name for the teachers of English and those who are involved in teaching English studies. He has published a number of textbooks for teaching English language as a foreign language, as well as he was the general editor of Oxford Learners Dictionary. You'll see that in the market there are so many advanced learners dictionaries of Oxford, and these are, he was there at the editorial panel. He was also the first editor of the journal English Language Teaching, and it was launched in 1946. So, when we try to compare the office scenario, what exactly will be our focus? So, Hornby here is making you aware about the various equipments that were prevalent in 20th century. During his time, we can say, here you can see the different Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary and the Hornby. You can see his book in honor of A.S. Hornby. It was edited by a well-known writer and published by Oxford University Press. He has devoted whole of his life for English lexicons and lexicography. Now, what exactly is the office? Students, you might be aware that after some years you'll have your own office, and then you will also wanting to get settled in the business. The first thing that comes to your mind when you start your business, from where you will radiate this all activities, and for that you need a space, a settled space, and this space we can call as office. This office is very important concept in business. So this essay in the office, Hornby gives the description as well as the functioning and management of an office. The focus here, in particular in this text, in this lesson is about the communication systems that were used in the office, internal as well as external. Later on, he at length provides the details and step-by-step functioning of the equipments and systems prevalent during those times. And now, if you read them, if you see these equipments, you will see, sir, these all are outdated equipments. What is the use? But dear students, let me tell you, we are not dealing with 21st century office. We are dealing with 20th century office. So these were, very crucial equipments that helped people to grow their business, to communicate with the other people also. So let's see how these equipments were used in that particular business environment. Before beginning, let's have a look at some concepts that are, used in this lesson. The first concept is of commerce. Now, what is the concept means? So, this concept is commerce suggests the buying and selling, the exchange of goods between countries. Means when you say I'm, involved in commerce, so what exactly you are doing, or a person who is involved in commerce is buying or selling something, whether a product or whether a service, any kind of a thing, and it is also involved in the exchange of goods between countries. Then there's another concept called as industry. Now, what is this? It hints at the production of goods by mining and manufacture. So by mining means you have gold mines, coal mines, and other things. You have to dig it and then extract the product, and you have to refine it. You have to process on that, and after that you'll get the refined product, diamonds, coal, gold, silver, like this. And manufacturing means, for example, if you are manufacturing a pen, then you have a pen industry. So you will prepare that. You'll make that in your factory. You'll manufacture that. Another concept here is business. So it is just, it can be said that it is a commercial activity where people come, meet each other, talk to each other regarding their business. They buy or sell their product and they get the benefits. And the next thing, where these all things happen, then this is office. What is this then? You can say it is a room or a set of room or a building used as a place for commercial, professional, or bureaucratic work to provide a particular service. Now, if suppose you have office providing services to elderly people, for example, we can say you are offering them the service for uh, counseling. So you have counselors office. If you have your own coaching class, then you have office to meet your students, to meet their parents, and then your classroom also adjacent to them. If you have an office uh, that deals with meeting people uh, regarding insurance, then facilities related to their what we can say money management, or you're providing them counseling regarding their investment. So you have your office regarding investment and insurance. So it clearly tells you that office is a specific space, a room, or a building where uh, you decide your plans regarding your professional activities. Now, see the picture here. It belongs to 20th century, early 20th century office, what we can say mid 20th century office in Britain. So all people are sitting at a particular place. Especially, it is a post office. And now, in those days, what exactly were the services provided by post office? You know that sending messages were quite a risky job then. You might have studied in your school lessons about communication system, postal systems in India as well as throughout the world. So, this is a standard British post office setup where people are communicating with each other. Now, when you say communication, what exactly is the communication? Now, I am talking to you. This is also a communication. Means from this side, I'm talking to you. I'm trying to give you some understanding about the concept of office, the equipments, and you're trying to learn them. So I'm communicating, and you're getting communicated. So this communication is very useful to preach something, to provide certain amount of information, to give helpful information regarding your decisions. So it is a two-way process. Communication is a dynamic process. It is a two-way process. Here you need a person who will talk to you. At the same time, you need a person who will listen to you. So this is a both-way communication. And in this process, you need a feedback. Suppose I am talking to you, I need feedback. If this would have been mm, a classroom setup, if we would have been talking to each other in the class, what was my expectation? That when I'm teaching you, at least you should say yes sir, we got it. You should nod your head in positive manner to let me know, to give me cues that yes, you understood it. So this feedback, whether physical gesture, body, through body language, or through words, verbal answers, this feedback is very important to process your communication. Feedback makes it successful. If you don't get feedback, one-way communication is failure. It's just useless activity. Then there are certain definitions that we can see here. Like Keith Davis, communication is a process of passing information and understanding from one person to another. So, what is this? It's a kind of a process of passing information as well as understanding from one person to another one. So, here you need at least two people, two groups, like two communities who will communicate with each other. Then, what John Adler says, according to John Adler, communication is essentially the ability of one person to make contact with another and make himself or herself understood. So, what I am doing here, I am trying to communicate with you and trying to make myself to understand you. I want that you should understand this lesson in the office very nicely so that you can have your own insights. You can relate that in today's communication system also. Then what Louis Allen says, according to Louis Allen, communication is a bridge of meaning. Means whenever we speak, we try to provide meaning. Provide meaning to what? To the words, to the emotions, to the acts. And through words, we're trying to communicate with each other. For example, if I say, I do care for you, that means I really care for you. I want that you should get benefits of learning this lesson. I want that you should understand the office system. I want that you should be expert in handling the office matters. And now, when we say that it is a breach of meaning, what it involves? It involves a systematic and continuous process of telling, listening, and understanding. Means it's not a stagnant process. It is not a kind of stopped kind of process. It's a flow. It's a flow where you have to continuously talk to each other, try to understand each other. And how would you understand? Until and unless you listen to that person carefully. So listening is a very crucial aspect of communication system. Because you can't talk to the walls, you can't talk to the stones, or even you can't talk to the dumb and deaf person. right? So here it involves telling, listening, and understanding. So when you say understanding, it's a cognitive process, means your brain tries to decode what that person has said and you give feedback what exactly you respond to that. So this is a continuous process of coding and encoding, decoding, and understanding, and then once again sending replies, sending cues, language cues, like this. So communication is very important aspect here, and which will help you to go ahead in your life. Now this is a simple letter, we used to communicate each other with the letters. We used to write, you know, letters at length to communicate with our distant relatives. Distant relatives means we are living at distance, distant from you. Means you, if suppose your sister is married and then you're missing her, so you used to write letter to her, providing the details, right? For example, your brother is working somewhere away from your home, so you're writing letter to him. For example, you are staying in the hostel and you wanted to communicate some urgent matter to your family, you'll write a letter. But nowadays, these are outdated things. Even the jobs of postal people, the people who are working in postal system, they are under threat because of the large quantity of revolution in mass communication, right? So when we talk about later in official context, in the office context, you can see that these two letters they have a frame, transparent frame, and then you get the address. So there were machinery where people early in the early times they used to stamp them and then send to the postal office, and they will send it to the next person. Then there were some improvements in the communication system. So postal envelopes were printed with particular stamps, and you have to, as you recharge your phone, these people used to have recharged their ink. So there was an ink meter. That meter would go on until and unless your money is there. Once your money is finished, that ink meter would stop. Then there was a certain time, then how will you show the address? Either you have to stick the label on that, or you have to write on that. Even today we do that, but to do it again and again, it was tedious job, routine job, kind of boring thing that doing again and again. So what happened? There was certain amount of improvement in the envelope system. So when you print that particular office memorandum or a letter with to whom you are addressing that, for example, suppose I am addressing to a person, to XYZ, Aurangabad, Maharashtra. So what I'm doing in the envelope, I'll put that, and I'll fold it in such a way that that address would be displayed through the transparent window that you can see here on the screen. In the same fashion, letters were dispatched to the parties. Then came, after this, this was the first thing that you learn to communicate through words, through letters. And in your business communication, you learn so many letters, so many types of letters, complaint letters, then how to send apology letter, then how to compliance with that letter. So many things are there. Then this is telephone. See, the different kinds of telephones can be seen here, the models. In the early 20th century, you don't means today you have smartphones. Even today you have watches, smart watches, and they can communicate everything to other person. But in those times you have such kinds of telephones. You have to, dial the number. And then the phase was that in later phase of 80s or 90s, you have, buttons. You have to press the buttons. And the system was that there used to be a telephone operator. It was not possible to have direct communication. So you have to communicate to the operator, and you have to book your call. You have to tell that, please get me connected to the so and so person. I wanted to speak to him. So he will get it. He'll give you frequency. He'll use buttons there like this, right? These are the telephone operators. They will connect you with one speaker to another, and then you'll get connected, and you'll talk to them. You might have seen there are ads and so many songs they are dealing with telephone. So telephones are very important, equipment in the history of communication system. So because they made distance collapsed. Because through letters we used to communicate with each other through words. We used to read those words and we tried to understand them what exactly that person wanted to say. But with telephone, it came to know that you can listen to that person. You can listen to the voice of that person, and that was magic. It was magical thing to listen your dear ones from distance, right? So telephone system has breached the gap. It communicated voices, and that was magic for relations. Even even if you don't clearly say few things, your voice and your tones would let you know what exactly is there. So telephone was another important aspect that was used in telephones. Now you see in the office what exactly was does. He gives you call. He calls you inside the office, his cabin, and you go after listening to that. During 20th century, boss used to call the colleagues in the office, and then they used to come to the office. Now these are another kind of a things called as buzzers. Boss used to press this buzzer, and you would announce something. After pressing that buzzer, secretary would come, and then boss would tell. There was another system where the buzzer was connected with all the colleagues or all the employees in the office. So if boss presses particular buzzer or particular number, for example 12, okay, if he presses that number, what happens? The employee who is sitting in the 12 number cabin, he comes to know that boss has summoned on him. So he will get up and go to meet his boss. So the buzzers were also, very crucial communication system, because you don't need to run here and there. In the early era of offices, one has to go from one boss, one person to another person to give his message. But this communication system has, made it possible to communicate without any hassles, without any problems. So a person who has to run from one place to another, his duties are quite relaxed. He can sit on one place and summon on the people. Then these are the dictation machines. See, this was, next stage. Next stage means what? You might have seen the films and even in the office scenario, a boss has a secretary or he has a stenographer. What he does, when he comes to office, he calls that stenographer or secretary who is an expert in shorthand typing. So boss would dictate letters, dictate orders, and whatever he wants to communicate with other people, he would dictate to this person. This person would take the notations. If it is in a shorthand, he would take the notations, and then he'll sit in his office at his table and would type that in a proper template. Later on, what happened, directly you can dictate to the machines. And through this, these people, as you see, they are listening to that, okay, through the headphones. And after listening to that, person is typing. So it made easier. Their job was made easier. And this job was helpful to speed up the communication system because boss can record it beforehand, and then after he records the messages or letters, that person would come, listen to that message, and type it. So no need to sit with the boss, take his dictation, then come to his table, then type it. No, boss would record, send it to him. That person would listen to that and simultaneously type it. Nowadays, with information and technology, we just talk to Google. Hey, Sarah, right? And then it listens to you and provides a list before you. So even we have Google transcription. You speak and it will type. So it has made the jobs very easy, especially for example news readers, or what you can say, the people who are working in journalism, or the people who have to report it immediately to their authorities, or what happened or what they exactly are doing. So dictation machines and with translation, voice translations nowadays we call them. So it has made it very very flexible to get communicated. Then this is the typewriter. This is the typewriter which would tell you how you type. I don't think that your generation is getting involved with typewriter nowadays, because you all have laptops, then desktops, the keypads are there, you have to type it, and you can see typed written words on your screen. But in good old days, even in the one decade before, in 2010s, even nowadays, there are some typewriting classes um, which are run typically on the typewriter. What exactly? There was a keyboard, and each key, if you press it, it has this encarved letter. That letter would be, you know, imprinted on that. It would strike on that ribbon, and then that ribbon would get in touch with the paper, and that letter would be printed on that paper. You have to scroll it. You have to do like this, you know, change, next line. So every time manual efforts were there. Type, 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 scroll, and then next line. But slowly, slowly, these typewriters were also outdated because with the advent of computer technology, means you can save your document, you can retrieve it at any time, you can print it so many times. I still remember in our school days, unit papers, unit test papers, they used to be typewritten, and we were amazed at how they made the copies. I would have one copy typewritten, and how they replicate that. So there was another machine called as cyclostyle machine. So it was similar. It is similar to Xerox machine. Nowadays, what we do, all teachers they type their exam papers. If there's a unit test, and what they do, they get it printed, so many copies at the same time, or one single copy and then Xerox it so many times. So typewriter was also a crucial stage in communication system. There were people who had ambition to be a typist. So typing examinations were there. Even today, you have typing examinations, because if you apply for the jobs in courts or government offices, you have to go through this. So 30 words per minute, 40 words per minute. English typewriting. So you are expert in typing 40, 60, 70 words per minute. So this speed suggests that how speedy you can type a particular paragraph or text. So it is related with your time management and your typing capacity. Then to conclude, what is the conclusion of today's lesson? We can review the system of communication, how we used to communicate. In the early stage of civilization, people used to send the envoys or the people, senders. A man would take the message of a king or queen to another king or queen or official person. Then later on, you had a system in British era, a proper system, and then you have postal system. Now in the office, we have seen what equipments are used, and like letters and buzzers and telephones and typewriters and dictation machines. And though these are, somehow outdated things, still they are useful because they have given their contribution in the development of this communication system. Now, in today's scenario, if we contrast and compare, so completely we're talking outdated things when we talk about typewriters and dictation machines and buzzers. In, if you still remember, if you see the history of telecommunication or communication system, there were certain kinds of pagers. So you can type the message and send it to that person. He would get it. So he'll communicate to you. Later on, you got mobile phones. So with the advent of mobile phones, the previous system was, outdated. Then there were, phones. Later on, you had smartphones. Now you have tablets, palm tops, and then laptops. Voice recognition techniques are used, so you don't need to touch or type, just say, but you have to match your English with British or American accent, and then only that Alexa or Sarah would understand your English. Then you have video call systems. So previously you can listen to the voice, now you can see the person also. So it has benefited, it has brought people together. It you The whole universe was got smaller. It gets smaller day by day. You're carrying your world in your pocket. So you're carrying your own world in your palm, in your hand. So the world has shrunk. And then we are also communicating through websites. We are using internet, emails, then social media apps such as Twitter handle is there, Instagram handle is there. Then you use WhatsApp. Then Telegram is there. Then Facebook. Facebook was the early social media app. Then there was a you know uh, mushroom growth of social media apps. Now you have Telegram, which has no limits. Now WhatsApp has also, is developing new kinds of techniques or bringing new features in it. The next thing is that the way we are communicating with each other through Google Meet. This lockdown has compelled all of us to go through this media, this stage where we can have interface with each other with Zoom meetings. Then GoToMeets are there, then G Suite, specially made for educational purposes, then Google Meet, then WebEx, Cisco WebEx is there, and so many things that you can use for your official purpose, for your learning purpose, for your teaching purpose, the way I'm using. So, overall, in the office, this lesson has talked about so many communication equipment, and comparing to them with today's, you can see how human society has progressed, how communication technology has progressed. You know, before 10 years, it was the magical idea, sitting at one place and communicating with so many students at the same time. For me, this was magic, and this magic, somewhere has been realized through technology, through the science and technology. So I hope in last 70 years of national history or world history, we have seen so many equipments that have added value to your life, that have, given age to your professional and personal experience. It has made you happy. At the same time, it is very troublesome also. You need to use these all equipments very carefully, very responsibly, because one wrong step and you will be in the abyss of darkness. Because if you post some wrong post on WhatsApp or Facebook, you will be trolled. Even government has made it very rigid rules are made. No tolerance to unethical practices. So we have to use these all social media apps, these all kinds of technology with great sense of responsibility towards humanity and human goodness. We have to use this only for the betterment of each other. So, students, I hope today we'll stop here and then we will meet again in the next lecture. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.